Okay, so this is Jacked Up Politics, local election special with Mehdi. He is the Sinn Fein candidate for the Cobh local electoral area. Mehdi, you're very welcome to the podcast. Thank you for coming on today. I know you were very busy today, so it's always very nice to get you on to talk about why you want to run for the Cobh LEA. And what we'll do now, Mehdi, is we'll just ask you a few questions. We're going to basically ask you a little bit about why you joined Sinn Fein, why you chose to run in the local elections, what you hope to achieve over the next 5 years, and so on and so forth. Is that okay with yourself?
Absolutely. Thank you, Jack.
No problem. Happy to be of service. So, Mehdi, the question we have for you, the first question we have for you, my apologies, is tell us a little about Mehdi, what you do with yourself, and why you chose Sinn Fein as your party of choice for the local elections.
Of course. Thank you so much, Jack, for organizing this podcast and also giving chance to all the candidates to introduce themselves and their policies as well. And it's actually really nice initiative because locally we don't have that many things. So knowing that in local you are doing something like that is really beautiful. And we are always happy to support you. So I am originally coming from Turkey, Jack, and I am half Kurdish, half Armenian from Turkey. The reason that I always specified that to show you the background, actually, coming from a place has a similar history as an Irish people. And that's been explained in a few minutes. I will explain why I choose the Sinn Fein and why Sinn Fein was my party. So, and at the moment I'm in Ireland over 12 years. I work for a multinational IT company. And this is my day job, 9 to 5 job. And outside of that, I used to own a coffee shop until a few months ago. Unfortunately, at the moment is being given away. I am trying to, it won't continue, to be perfectly honest, because now at the moment the economy is also hitting, especially hitting small businesses. So this is the thing. The reason that I picked Sinn Fein, and I tell you from Turkey, and I used to live in Italy as well in university. I studied in Italy, and the Sinn Fein is very popular outside. And all because I'm coming also from a left-wing family. All friends and the people that I admire politically, they were like all influenced by Irish Republican, especially the party Sinn Fein. And Sinn Fein always is interested with the human rights and then politics in different countries, especially with the Kurdish rights in Turkey, for example, or in Armenia with Armenian rights. So they always show themselves. If you contact anyone outside of Ireland, most likely they heard about the Sinn Féin or they heard about all the troubles, but those other parties, they never heard about that. So Sinn Féin was always there. I was always interested with the party from the day one that I arrived to Ireland, and I actually contacted them. I was in service. I always worked, and I was always part of the party. So this is my journey that I picked. The reason that for the local election, I was anyway a member, and that is like normally, and I put my name ahead, and that I will also cover in a few minutes. But that's the reason that I am going ahead with my party, because it's badly needed, and then a Republican face we need in Cobh. That's why.
And we both share a similar story, Mehdi, that you're a current member of Sinn Fein, and myself, I used to be a member of Sinn Fein a long, long time ago. Back back in, I think I was a member from 2019 up until 2021, and then I jumped ship over to the Social Democrats because I found myself a bit more attracted to the kind of social democratic policies, because there was kind of more kind of like sustainable policies in the Social Democrats that we didn't have in Sinn Féin at the time. But kind of I have always still remained a big supporter of the party. I do think you do have some great ideas, and I am a big fan of Pat Buckley and Donegal O'Leary. I think they're two fantastic TDs, and I think we'd be very lucky to have you in Cobh, Mehdi, as a councillor, because I do think the Sinn Féin base in Cobh has grown over the last number of years. I know your predecessor who ran in the 2019 elections, Louise, another fantastic activist. She was absolutely brilliant. She's a very community-minded woman, and you could not meet a nicer woman. And I remember talking to Louise about the campaign back in 2019, and basically, because I was a greenhorn to politics, as you could say, I was a newbie, didn't know very much about it. All I knew was I liked Sinn Féin's ideas, so I was going to join them. But as I kind of got a bit more politically mature, I kind of realised that, sometimes you don't fit in one party and it's okay to jump ship. But I think the big thing that we both share is that we both have very strong left-leaning tendencies, I and myself, to come from a left-leaning family. For people that don't know, but my mum is a trade unionist. Well, she was up until July last year, until she got sick. But hopefully she'll go back to it once she gets better. And my cousin is the Assistant General Secretary for Forza. So, big left-leaning family there. And my granduncle is also a member of the Labour Party and was a shop steward for the trade unions as well in the Ford factory in Cork. So, kind of big left, we're both big left-leaning people,
Excellent. I'm sorry to hear that actually you left the party. Obviously, Social Democrats are also a great, and I like their policies as well. And I'm glad to have them around than any right-wing parties, to be honest. And I hope I will convince you to come back to us, because someone like you, especially an entrepreneur minded and then creative person, always well needed in our party. Hopefully soon I will manage to convince you to get you back.
Well, look, I kind of trying to stay, when I do the podcast, I try to stay politically neutral, because that's my job. I have to try and stay politically neutral during these things. But look, if Sinn Féin did make me a tender offer, I would consider it. But as far as the Social Democrats are concerned, they have me pretty much secured, good and proper for the time being. But I think that there does need to be a good, strong inter-party dynamic between parties. I think that, and I think we're very lucky in Ireland that a lot of the left-leaning parties in Ireland are willing to work with each other, and I think that is very important, that Sinn Féin are willing to cross the bench and work with us, and Social Democrats, we're willing to cross the bench and work with Labour are willing to cross the bench and work with Sinn Féin, and I think that's important, because if you look at it, Independent Ireland are refusing to work with anyone, they're only looking after themselves. Now, in fairness, that could change, so I'm going to remain objective about that. But I think we're very lucky here in Cobh as well, with people like yourself, Mehdi, that come from a distinct ethnic background, that I think that just shows how multicultural Ireland has become, and I think that's very important, because there's been a study actually done, and it's shown that people who believe in left-wing politics actually have a higher threshold of intelligence, believe it or believe it not. So I think anyone that does have left-wing beliefs is certainly a lot more clued in to what's going on in the world than the right-wing parties such as Fine Gael, Fianna Fáil, the Irish Freedom Party, Irish National Party, But in fairness, I think that it's very reassuring to hear that you have some fresh ideas for Cobh, and me, myself, I'm 26 next month. I think that, I'm still only, according to my friends in the Social Democrats, I'm still only a baby.
And actually, you don't look even 26, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, that's what everyone says to me. I tell people, I'm 26. They're like, you're 26? No. We had you pegged for 25.
Too.
And I say to people, it's probably because I don't drink, I don't smoke, and I probably take a pretty good care of myself. I don't kind of
that's great.
Yeah, I don't drink any fizzy drinks or anything like that. I'm kind of very staunch. Stick to just water and diluted. Those are my two poisons of choice: is water or diluted. So yeah. So we'll continue the interview anyway, Betty, because we're getting a bit sidetracked here. So if you don't mind me asking, you talked a bit briefly about why Sinn Fein, but what kind of gave you the push to run in the locals this year? Because it's a very big decision, you know? It's kind of not... I'd imagine you had to do quite a lot of thinking about it. Kind of like, you know, because you're working for a big multinational corporation. You're probably very, very busy with that already, you know? And making a jump into local politics, it's a very courageous jump, and it's to be commended no matter what party you're running for, be it left, right, centrist. It's to be commended. So talk us through the thought process of why you wanted to run in the locals and what you hope to bring to Cobh.
Thank you so much, Jack. So let me tell you that I am coming also from in Turkey. I was in politics since I was age 13, right? All left wing parties, and then in Italy I was joined in the political parties. So I have a good knowledge of how the election and how the political process works. If you are successful in local election, is like most likely guaranteed that you're gonna win the general election, right? Because in local, most of the society is actually managed by locally, right? And then in the local, the beauty and importance of the society starts from the local. And because the most of the job is being done by councillor, is being done by the local governments, right? So that's why it was important. Now that if you sense the thing that so many people are looking and calling for a change, so that was very important. This local election is so important for us. The reason that I put my name forward, because I wanted to include anyone and everyone. Doesn't matter, like foreigner or like the Irish native, and anyone that lives here and they use our services, they use the like daily basis, you know, anything that comes to your mind. You have a child, you are using the child services, so you are part of the society. And then I reckon also so many people are complaining. Remember, complaining is good, is healthy, but if you don't do anything about it, you are part of the problem. I always think like that. So be the change you want to see it, right? And that's why I said that I was complaining things are not working well in the locally, and I said maybe I can bring the change, and I put my name. I can push anyone and everyone to be active in the party, especially those guys that they are like, I always call them the hidden part of the society, which they are the foreigners. They are the huge and bulk. For example, in Karitul, almost like 40-30% of the population is the foreigners, right? And they are living, but they are back. They are not included so much into a political system. So that's why you are talking them. You are saying, you know, be and come and make your voice heard. This is important. That's why me joining there was important. And also I am a small business owner, so that's why also we are showing that I have a good mindset of business and I understand well economy, importance of economy. So you know that there are so many false allegations about us that businesses will collapse if Sinn Fein will come, and we will tax so many people will take dole. So we are actually showing them the importance of that Sinn Fein is actually willing to show that is different, is not what you think, is not what people actually make you believe that we are. So that's why me as a small business owner, foreigner, living here, committed, but my main agenda, I tell you that I am into unity of Ireland, and also I know that we passed through a genocide, the cultural genocide. We are actually, this is also for me another sensitive topic, that two main agenda was there in overall, but locally, obviously I am bringing so many topics, and what I will do, the housing is biggest issue. Last few days that I am talking to people, so many requests on housing is coming there,
Oh,
and
definitely.
exactly. And there are also people are coming for antisocial behaviors. That Cobh, for many people, even before I was joining here, they were telling me, "Oh, stay away from Cobh. It's very dangerous place. It's not nice place to live." That's why the house price initially was very low here, Jack, because like I remember, and they were saying, "Oh, it's the cheapest place there because it's dangerous." And the reason is actually there is a lot of antisocial behaviors, so many criminal activities were being done here. So also, I am hoping to tackle that. School is also another issue.
Mm,
Lack of schools is here, and we need to work on this as well. And I need to increase the Garda presence. This is one of the things that I want. And lastly, mental health. This is very important thing for me. I know that Pat Buckley is one of the advocate
mm,
and champion of mental health. And me myself, I suffered from my mental health as well.
mm,
But when I needed, there wasn't really huge help,
mm.
unfortunately. That
Yeah.
is important to have and give the help to people. And for example, we need to be more inclusive for the autistic kids, autism as well. We need to prepare ourselves, schools, society, businesses, and everything.
Mm,
Down syndromes as well. For example, I was living in Italy. Government actually gives a quota for any disabled person, including Down syndromes, that they have to be hired. 20-30% of the quota is given to
mm,
them, and you have to hire them if you want to continue your business. So those kind of small things that I want to bring, because if you have an international background and experiences, you can bring and then bring to the table, and that would give you a different vision, different point of view.
without a shadow of a doubt. And I think what you're saying there about trying to encourage people with intellectual disabilities, Mehdi, encouraging them to get involved in the workforce, I think that is a very commendable step. And I think that's a great way of uniting people, And I think in a time of social division that we're living in, where hatred is rampant throughout Ireland, it's great to see that there's people out there that want to kind of bridge gaps and kind of promote unity, And I think that's a very authentic belief to have, and I think it's a very good belief to have, because I believe I don't know if you've ever watched Star Trek yourself, but I'm a big fan of Star Trek, right? And I believe the only way we can prosper in society is through unity and through debate and by being logical, And I think what you're saying, Mehdi, makes a lot of sense for a lot of people. And I think we do live in a broken society. I think what a lot of people don't realise is Ireland is broken. I think we're still a fantastic country for soft power. Just last week, signing making the declaration that Ireland recognises the state of Palestine as a sovereign nation. I think that was fantastic. Do I think it should have been done sooner? Absolutely, because I myself, being in the Social Democrats and yourself being in the Sinn Fein, I think we both share the belief that there is no place for hatred and bigotry in 2024 in Ireland, that we need to be a united people. We need to be a society united by wanting to achieve the common good. And I think, Mehdi, by you saying that we need to bring in quotas for people with intellectual disabilities to be brought into the workforce, I think that is a very good idea. And I must commend you on that. That is a very good point.
Thank you. Thank you. That is very important, because wherever I was going there, I could see that those people, they actually do their best. Because if you include them in the social life, in business life, they can stand. They can be there independent, and they can show that they are actually capable to do that, because what happened in Ireland or in Turkey in past, and I could see that a disabled person were left at home, mother and father were looking after that, they were playing with kids, bullied by others, they didn't give in any chance, because they were always called that disabled or like intellectually they are not capable So, but things are changing. For example, there is really beautiful project that I would love to send you later. In Rome, there is a nice restaurant, is owned and managed by all Down syndrome people. So they are like cooking, they are serving, they are taking orders. So they show you that they can actually do everything, that if you give them enough chance, if you give them opportunities and resources.
Like, I think it was a few weeks ago, it was about a month and a half ago, I think. There was a very poignant ad that I saw on the internet. And it was a woman with Down syndrome. She was in this ad and she was saying, treat me like a normal person. By you having these perceived notions that I can't do something, that notion becomes reality for me, you know? So I think what you're saying, Mehdi, is very true. That I think people need to put aside notions of, just because someone has Down syndrome doesn't mean they can't do something, you know? Or just because they have autism doesn't mean they can't do something. Me, myself, I have quite a complex mental health issues. Like, I have ADHD and I have anxiety. And I think that what not a lot of people realise is, if when you have ADHD, you're actually classified as being neurodivergent. You know, you're not classified as being neurotypical with ADHD. You're actually classified as being neurodivergent, you know? And I think there needs to be a lot more understanding with people with kind of like mental health conditions. There needs to be better support. You're bang on the money there. Because I know myself, when I was using the HSE services, they messed up big time. Now, thankfully, I had private health insurance, so I was able to avail of private services. But I think in 2024 Ireland, someone shouldn't have to be spending their hard-earned cash on mental health issues. And I think that's a very important thing to raise as well, Mehdi, is the fact that we do need better mental health services on a local level. Because I know one of my close personal friends and one of the local Social Democrats councillor down in Middleton, Liam Quaid, fought very, very hard to keep the centre down there open when the government tried to close it. And I think because of Liam's campaigning and his rigorous efforts to keep that centre open, he did the people of Middleton a massive service. And I know we do have a mental health facility in Cobh out in Rushbrook, out in the Sacred Heart Church. It's just behind that. Is it called Sleenew, I think is the name of the facility? Or Sleenew House, I think is the name of it. And I think like, they're very, like, when I was out there, Mehdi, they were very understaffed, and you kind of felt that there could be more done to help people. And I think you are right. We do need to have a conversation about mental health services in East Cork, because they're absolutely atrocious. Like, I think it's saying now that by 2025 or 2030, I can't remember the exact date on top of my head, apparently 1 in 2 people will be suffering from a mental health condition of some shape or description. And what a lot of people don't realise as well is addiction issues also fall under mental health issues, you know, and addiction services we need to be doing more work on as well. So I think by improving mental health services, we're not just going to be improving the facilities for people like myself, yourself, and anyone that's suffering from mental health issues, but people that are suffering from addiction issues, you know. And I think where a lot of this right-wing propaganda is focusing on, right, is it's focusing on vulnerable groups, you know. You're turning one vulnerable group against another, you know. People that and I think that's despicable, and I think it needs to be called out, you know. Like, we need, as I went to the Social Democrats Summer Scheme 2022, and Emma Kerwin, he's an actor here in Ireland, he turned around and said that we need to be an inclusive rather than a divisive society. And that hit home for me, you know, that he made a very good point that you don't achieve anything by division. You only keep those that are in power, but by being inclusive, you empower those that wouldn't feel like they could go into politics to go into politics, you know. And I think you build a lot better societies by being more understanding, by being more caring.
Yes.
And I think, like, another big thing I'm seeing at the moment as well is with this antisocial behaviour is 5-10 years ago, maybe, when I was a young fella, if you were caught doing something by the guards, right now, thankfully, when I was younger, I never got in trouble with them. And I always had great respect for An Garda Síochána, was you were nearly afraid to fucking give them grief, you know, you were nearly afraid to say something to them, because back then they weren't afraid to give you a clip around the back of the ear and say, you know what, you need to cop on, you need to behave yourselves, right? And I remember kind of like, as I started finishing secondary school, I kind of noticed there was a bit of a shift, that people kind of didn't respect the guards as much as they used to about 3 or 4 years before that. Because I remember, this will tell you how old I am now, is when I was younger, a lot of people my age used to go drinking in certain spots in Cobh on a Saturday and Friday evenings, and if the guards came, you'd do a legger because you were afraid you'd get arrested, you know. Nowadays, young fellas or young people will just stay there and be like, so what are they going to do? Bring us home, you know?
Yeah.
That's the difference in attitude, right?
Sure.
And I think the guards also are suffering from their own kind of issues as well, you know. They still have a massive manpower shortage, you know. They're coming under threat daily by so-called activists, which I wouldn't really call them activists. I'd really say they're more grifters, and they're kind of focused on dismantling the fantastic progress that's been done in this country over the last 30 years.
Yeah.
That they, you know, and I think I say to people, right-wing politics isn't about empowering the people, it's about control. It's about restricting what people can do in their lives, you know? And I think left-wing politics is about opening borders to people. It's about empowering people. It's about encouraging people, you know? And
Beautiful.
do I reckon we'll have everything sorted if we elect Sinn Fein? No, but I don't think if we elected the Social Democrats into power, we'd have it sorted either, you know?
Exactly.
To get stuff sorted, it takes time, it takes progress, and it takes determination from all participants, even the people on the street, you know? So I think another question we'd have for you as well, Mehdi, is at the bottom of Ballyleary, you're probably after being made aware of this yourself, is that junction is absolutely atrocious. There's been multiple car accidents, there's been multiple near misses, and I know that quite a lot of people are demanding that there needs to be stuff done on it. So I just wanted to ask you, what do you think needs to be done with that junction in regards to improving it? Because I know you yourself, you're living in Coolline, and so you're very near that junction. So that will kind of be a big priority for you. So I just kind of want to get your opinion on what you want to do with that junction to kind of help alleviate the locals' concerns on that issue.
And if you don't mind, Jack, before that, I would like to add something about the Garda. It's really beautiful.
No problem. That's what the interview is for, Mehdi.
Thank you very much. It was like really important what you said there, right? It's not about only open borders, but it's empowering people. And when it comes to Garda, one of the my main priorities that I wanted to give, like increase the Garda presence, but not only increasing, you know, just putting numbers there. So you need to help them because, as you said, there are people. They have lots of issues there. They're understaffed. They're not getting paid enough, and then you need to help them mentally as well because they are dealing all difficult situations there. You need to really have a good service for the Gardaí. So that's why, like, you need to listen to them. You need to understand them because most of the political parties and most of the time in election, we are giving out of them, but we never actually include or help them, you know? And any issues, oh, the Garda is not doing the job, or Garda is not here, Garda is not there, oh, Garda didn't come to help us. But actually what we are doing for them, you know, I had so many people, they actually gave out, they left their job, Garda job, because they were like understaffed or they were getting like really death threats and they couldn't do anything. As you were saying that before, would respect the Garda, but now you are actually not afraid of them, and they cannot do anything basically. And if they don't hit you, you cannot do even anything. They can come shout you, push you or stuff, and Garda is helpless. We need to
Yeah.
help them. We need to support them because they are like our backbone of the society as well. They save and they help us. They support us. In terms of that junction, Jack, recently I went there because I'm using that junction a lot to go to work, right? But each
Mm.
time that I'm actually very anxious, and I feel that how on earth people can safely actually take that junction is like really difficult. I stand there one day, I park a little far, and I was taking video to show to people and how dangerous is that junction is. It
Mm.
is that, and I said that soon something really bad is going to happen here. We need to act before things really bad and somebody will die or something will happen, and then we will realize, okay, it is time to do something. No, we need to act before. So that's why I contacted the county council and
Mm.
pushed them to actually come up with something. They have engineers, they can come something like this. Put at least speed bumps before the junction, because when the cars are turning, they are like they cannot see. There are some of them
Mm.
speeding. You can put the speed cameras or some. It just we need to do something like that. We need to work with the engineers there in the county council, or we can go to public as a democratic way, because
Mm.
people like you, they are very clever, they are very intelligent, they have so many great ideas that we can come together. What we can do to improve that area, my
Mm.
my thing was that we can put speed bump, for example, but the mirror as well should be really big and nice, because it's useless. That
Mm.
mirror can't help you
Yeah.
at all. And so this was important thing that I was pointing out, because I put that on my political page as well, and I said that, look, this is a very dangerous place, and it has to be, something has to be done, because otherwise things will be late, and if God willing, nothing will happen. But if somebody dies or some crash will happen, then things will be very late, and we will realize most of the time this is the way in Ireland, unfortunately.
Definitely. And there's that hedgerow at the bottom of the junction in Ballyleary.
Yeah.
That hedgerow needs to be cut back as well, because that's blocking a major viewpoint at that junction. And I think the council need to kind of maybe take a compulsory purchase order or whatever, or kind of say to the owner, if it's, and make a determination whether the hedge is on their side or on public land, and cut that hedgerow back. Because when you come up to that junction in Ballyleary, I know when I'm driving along the Tay Road, is I absolutely bloody hate it, because you could get a car darting down Ballyleary, right? And they could be out in front of you before you know it. Then you have to hit on the brakes,
That's true.
And it is just terrifying. So much so that I try and avoid using the Tay Road as much as possible. Now, I don't mind going from, say, the Tay Road from, say, the bottom of Cobh Cross over to as far as, say, Cuskenny. That part of it is fine. But I think...
That's true.
But I call that whole section there from the say there at the corner over to, say, the end of Ballyno. That part of the Tay Road is the most dangerous part of the Tay Road. And when I was younger, you used to actually be able to walk that road safely. But now you can't even do that, because I remember me and my dad went walking that road, I'd say maybe 2 years ago during the summer. And the amount of people that came speeding along that road, and I'll never forget this. One woman came barreling along in her car, right? We told her to slow down, and she popped us the middle finger.
Oh my God.
Yeah. You can't make this stuff up, right? Now, and so much so that I avoid the T Road now at all costs. And I think it's only a matter of time before someone on a push bike gets killed on that road, or someone on a motorbike gets killed, because that road used to be a lovely little walk on a Sunday morning. You could walk it. It's quite nice. But now it's just too dangerous. And another question I have for you is, being a local business owner, you probably know yourself that the rates over the last
Yep.
number of years have gone through the roof, and they are no longer, and that the rates are very, very high. And a question I had for you was, I interviewed Ger Curley. He's the independent Ireland candidate for the Cobh local electoral area yesterday, and Ger had run a local shop here in Cobh for the last 24 years.
Mm-hmm.
And Ger said to me, when he started his business first 23 years ago or 24 years ago, he said his rates included his water and his refuse.
Mm-hmm.
He said now they're all separate, you know? And I think we're suffering as a result of that, you know. The high rates are forcing local businesses to close, because Ger was telling me his rates for the shop and the pub that he used to own were €7,000 for the year, you know. So, and then there was a fella who had twice the space he had, was only being charged €2,000 a year in rates, you know. So it's, and I know you yourself used to own a coffee shop, and I'd say the rates going up must have been a big factor in you deciding to close the coffee shop. And
Exactly.
I just want to find out, Mehdi, what would your approach be to the rates? Would you like to see them reduced? Would you like to see them scrapped? What would you like to see with the commercial rates for commercial properties in the Cobh LDA?
To be perfectly honest, if you think about realistically, I would reduce as much as possible. And I know that county council is getting good money out of that. But as you said, this was one of the reasons that I had to give up, even though government, time to time, they were coming up with an idea. During the COVID, they just waived the rates. And this year, what they are doing, they are just like giving you back half of the rate. So if it is €1,000, is €1,000 gonna cost you? And they are doing time to time that if they are capable to do that, so let's actually either not take from them, so give them €2,000-3,000 into their pocket, so they can invest that money into their shop, or they can hire more people, so they can actually look after the shop, or they can improve. Because you can see the local businesses that I am going around, and I see that the conditions are really horrible. And I can understand them, because when I talk to them, they say that they have so much expenses. They have so much to pay. And electricity bill is so high, as you said, like I was paying also for the refuse, I was paying for the bin, and I was paying for the water as well. Water is free of charge for the public, but for the businesses are not free of charge, for example. You know, all those factors actually, when you do calculations, and it is high, and plus the VAT rate as well is quite high for the small businesses. And now that they introduce as well, you know, when you get sick and you need to pay, I think at the moment is 5 days, 5 working days to pay for your employees, you know. This is a good thing, but imagine small businesses that now is struggling right there. Instead of government said, oh, I don't want to pay, small business to pay. So small businesses are left out from any help. But like rate, it has to be given back. Another thing, we need to help them, because again, if small business does better, does good, they will hire more people. And those people that they are hired, and what they will do, they will spend here, they will use their money inside the local, you know, that is important. So that's why you need to look after your small businesses. You need to give more fund and grants. Like there are not enough, or there are no grants at all for the small businesses, which I believe this could help them as well. Give them some grants to help them, or turn, like they can make better their shops. And that is because our town is a summer town, as people call it. It's just a cruise town. In the winter time, they are struggling. So many businesses are struggling. Today, my wife told me that she was walking in city, said that, oh, jewelry shop is closing down. They are selling everything, and they are gonna close down. It actually breaks your heart, because probably that was owned by a family, and they were there so many years, and they are paying like taxes. They employ people. Imagine how
Yeah.
hard for them to leave the business.
Yeah. I know that. I actually know that. Jewelry shop you're on about, the Treasure Cove, because my auntie's actually the lady who's working in there.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah, she's the one working in there. And it's a case of that the owner who has it, he's basically not making enough money off it, and he's having to close shop because he's having to focus on his other business. And they actually own Sea Salt. Do you know the cafe by the old Ireland? He owns that. So they're kind of focusing on Sea Salt, and I think that like the jewelry business is very cutthroat anyway. You know, there's a very small profit margin can be made off it, but I think more could have been done to help the likes of that small business. You know, because like a lot of these people that have these businesses, right, they're often sole traders, and for people listening to the podcast, if you're a sole trader, you are liable for everything in that shop. You are liable for all the overheads. You're liable for everything, right? So if you were starting a business, the only thing I would recommend to people is you do your research. And I would recommend, this is my economics part of my government and political science degree coming out, is that I would actually recommend that people start it as a private limited company. You have reduced liability, and that way then, once you start the business, if the business does go belly up, your costs then at the end, when you're wrapping up, are greatly reduced, and there's no risk of your home being taken, your car being taken, your TV being taken, the dog being taken. You know, it just reduces costs for people.
Exactly. Actually, I have a bad news in that. And the reason that I opened the private limited company, I was thinking that, as the government or like the banks or like the microfinance, by the way, with the government body. And I was sure that I wouldn't be held accountable, right? As they know that private limited companies are a danger for them, economically speaking. And they are making you to sign a special paper, special agreement that privately you accept any liability. Unfortunately, I had to sign a couple of them, but thankfully I managed to pay everything. But imagine if I won't be able to pay. Only thing that you are not liable is the government taxes, but the banks, microfinance, rents, they can come after you. Unfortunately, they come up with this new idea. They are making you to sign a private contract. So they said that, okay, if company is not paying as a director or as a person, you are the person who is going to pay. So we can come after your house, your car. So this is also new.
Yeah, and I think that needs to be addressed as well, because I think that's a very sneaky thing to do to small business owners, And I think that needs to kind of be explained to people as well,
True.
That agreements like those should be made. Like me, myself, I've studied economics this year in college. I think that should actually be removed because it doesn't do the economy any good. Yes, you have to prevent from private limited companies going belly up. However, you don't, if a company goes belly up, you're better off ensuring that the company isn't tied to someone's personal home, personal fortune, because that might be what they're using to put their kids through college, might be what they're using as a retirement fund, So I think those kind of agreements need to kind of be done away with. And I think, that's very sad to hear that they made you sign those kind of agreements, Mehdi, because that's a very sneaky thing for them to do for people when they're doing a private limited company, because they'll tell you about, oh yeah, if the company goes up, you're not liable, and then they'll turn around and say, with those kind of agreements, then that you do have to sign it. But the last question I have for you now, Mehdi, is, and I know we're kind of gone a bit over time here, but is the fact that you're very passionate about Cobh, and that comes across immensely.
Yeah.
And I know there's a strong enough Sinn Fein vote here in Cobh and in the Cobh LEA. So, touch wood, you'll be elected in 2 weeks' time, which is, I think the election's actually 2 weeks tomorrow, is it?
Yeah, from Sunday, actually. No, sorry. from today 2 weeks.
Yeah, today.
Friday 7. Yeah.
So what I want to ask you now, Mehdi, is your we're figuratively speaking now.
Mhm.
Local election has gone very, very well for you. You're elected, and general election comes up, because I know we're going to actually, what a lot of people don't realize is, folks, is that we actually will be facing a general election this year.
Mhm.
The common thought is that a lot of people think that the GE isn't going to come until January 2025, which was when it was held last time. But I have a few insider sources that have told me we will be facing a general election from as early as August to as late as November this year. So,
Okay.
So what I want to ask you, Mehdi, is we have two TDs in East Cork standing down this in the next general election. Sean Sherlock for Labour, who was a fantastic representative for East Cork, and David Stanton. Even though he was a Fine Gaeler, he was a stalwart. He was very approachable, and he was a real man of the people. You know, what I try and stress here to people is sometimes you have to separate the person from the politics. You know, that you have to kind of be a little less, oh, I hate Fine Gael, I hate Fianna Fáil, I hate Renua, I hate this part. No, that just doesn't work, unfortunately, in 21st century Ireland. And I think people don't realise is politics are a lot more cliched, but to get back to my point, is where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? Do you see yourself running as the second Sinn Fein TD for East Cork? Do you see yourself still as a county councillor? Do you see yourself gearing up to run for re-election in the local election? Where does Mehdi see himself in 5 years' time?
And really good question. So basically, hopefully, if I will be elected in 2 weeks' time, obviously, I will dedicate myself for the Cobh and make this beautiful town and as it deserves what it deserves. So this will be my main focus. And hopefully, and after 5 years, I would definitely will be interested in the general election and put my name forward and in the party. And I am a committed member of our party. And I would love to be, obviously, and this needs to be obviously discussed with the party if they think that I am suitable enough for the role. And I would love to put my name forward, obviously.
Yeah.
So that would be important. But hopefully, general election will be soon, and we will have much more presence, and people can see that actually we are capable to do what we promise, what we are telling, so they can actually start believing that, because we weren't in the government from the beginning of the foundation of the state, you know. So that's why it's important to people like me starting locally from the local. We show that we are capable, we are doing what we are doing, we will do our best. Well, after 5 years, I would definitely will be interested, help, and I would, to be honest, also would like to see myself in foreign policy part, because I have really good connection with the outside of Ireland, some countries, and you know, we can help, we can bring much more businesses here, much more relation with all the countries. We can do that, because by using our people like me, we can create this bridge with different countries. So that would be, you know, I don't want to stop just like locally, and also I believe in local government it should be a quota, or let's say as a term of maximum 2 terms you should be able to serve, in my opinion, because to give young people, give people the chance to prove themselves as well, like people like you would be great. But if somebody is, I see that some names are there like 4 or 5 times already, you know, and give other people chance to actually run or help the society. So more than 2 terms, I don't believe in local government, even in a normal government should be allowed.
And that's a very good point to make, Mehdi. So what we'll do is we'll wrap the interview up there. Folks, I know Mehdi would appreciate this very much if you could give him your number 1 preference in the upcoming local elections, or the next highest preference that you deem fit. Mehdi, we want to wish you the very, very best of luck with the local elections. and we hope you're successful, as we do with all the other candidates. And we hope to have you back on the podcast in a few weeks' time once the results of the local elections have been announced. Next interview that we will be releasing will be with Cobh Rasmussen, a Labour councillor for Cobh. Cottle's been a Labour councillor for Cobh for the last 10 years, and he's a very interesting character in the fact that he's also the chair of the policing committee in County Hall. So Mehdi, thank you very, very much for coming on today. You've been a great inspiration to a lot of young people, and I hope that a lot of young people do see Sinn Fein as a viable alternative to Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael, and that they take on board that Sinn Fein is the only way forward in the next general election. Now, Mehdi, we wish you the very best of luck, and thank you for coming on. And we'll wrap up the episode there. All right.
Proud of how we held it down on the way up. Can't wait for our day to ball. This is a layup. Nobody ever said this would be easy, but trust when I say that you got it.